You still get up. You still go to work, answer messages, laugh at the right moments. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. But underneath, something has been quietly shifting for weeks, and you've been the last person to notice it. Most people think mental health decline announces itself with a crisis. It doesn't. It arrives as 12 small, almost forgettable changes you learn to explain away. The first sign is sleep that no longer restores you. You wake up as tired as when you lay down, even after 8 hours, because the deep restorative stages of sleep are the first thing stress hormones interrupt. The second is losing interest in things that used to feel automatic. A hobby, a show, a person you'd normally text back within minutes. Psychologist Martin Seligman studied this pattern under the label learned helplessness, where repeated stress teaches the brain that effort stops producing reward, so it quietly stops trying, even in situations where trying would actually help. The third sign is irritability that feels disproportionate, snapping at small things because small demands now register as threats. The fourth is a change in appetite in either direction, eating to numb the day or forgetting to eat because hunger signals get crowded out by stress signals. The fifth is withdrawing from people, not dramatically, just one canceled plan at a time until isolation feels normal instead of chosen. The sixth is a foggy, slower mind, forgetting words mid-sentence because working memory is one of the first casualties of chronic strain. Here's the part that surprises most people. None of this is really about your mind alone. Physiologist Hans Selye's research on the stress response showed that prolonged strain pushes the body into what he called exhaustion, the final stage of adaptation, where the systems keeping you regulated simply run low on resources. That's sign 7, physical symptoms with no clear cause, headaches, tight shoulders, a stomach that won't settle. The eighth is catastrophic thinking, where one bad moment gets generalized into everything is falling apart. The ninth is a growing gap between how you act and how you feel, performing fine while privately feeling flat or frightened. Research on interoception, the brain's sense of its own body, suggests this gap widens because the signals your body sends about its own distress get harder to read the longer stress continues, so you feel unsettled without knowing why. The 10th sign is losing your sense of time, days blurring together with nothing to distinguish them. The 11th is intrusive comparison, constantly measuring your struggling self against an earlier version of you that coped better. The 12th, and often the last one people notice, is a quiet loss of hope about your own capacity to change things. Not dramatic despair, just a dimming. What ties all 12 together isn't weakness, it's allostatic load, a term from neuroscientist Bruce McEwen describing the cumulative wear stress places on the body and brain when it never gets the chance to fully recover between demands. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's been running an emergency response for so long that ordinary functioning starts to look like these 12 signs. There's a philosophical layer worth sitting with here, too. The Stoics distinguished between what is within your control and what is not, and much of modern anxiety comes from treating the uncontrollable as though it were a personal failure to manage better. Recognizing these 12 signs isn't about diagnosing yourself with a label. That's a job for a trained professional, not a video. It's about noticing that your baseline has moved, the same way you'd notice a boat drifting off course if you kept checking your position against the shore instead of assuming you were still exactly where you started. Self-compassion researcher Kristen Neff's studies suggest that people who respond to their own struggling with the same care they'd offer a friend recover their baseline faster than those who respond with self-criticism, because criticism itself is an additional stressor layered on top of the original one, one more demand placed on a system that is already running low. So what do you actually do with this? First, track your baseline deliberately. Once a week, write down one line about your sleep, your interest in things, and your patience, not to judge it, just to notice drift before it becomes invisible to you, the same way a captain checks coordinates rather than trusting a feeling of direction. Second, lower the bar for reaching out. You don't need a crisis to justify talking to a friend, a doctor, or a therapist. Waiting for things to get bad enough is exactly the pattern that lets allostatic load build unchecked, and a professional can help distinguish ordinary stress from something that needs more structured support. Third, protect one genuine recovery window each day, even 15 minutes without an input, without a screen, where your nervous system gets to downshift instead of staying braced. None of these fix everything overnight, but each one interrupts the slow drift before it becomes the new normal, and catching it early is almost always easier than repairing it after the fact. You still get up, you still go to work, answer messages, laugh at the right moments, but now you know what to actually look for underneath all of that. And noticing early is the difference between a quiet dip and a genuine crisis.